After a fantastic match last night for the Canadian men's national team in a 4-0 win over Curacao in Alphonso Davies' homecoming, there's so much more exciting news today. But around our U-20 men's national team, with Canada Soccer releasing the squad for the upcoming CONCACAF U-20 Championships, and Canada Soccer has released a brilliant side with a great mix of MLS, CPL, European, and South American players being included. There's some very exciting players on this roster that we could even see break into the senior squad sooner than we were expecting, the likes of Justin Smith from OGC Nice, Rita Zuhir, as well as even Jesse Costa. But surprisingly enough, there's no Lucas Diaz on this roster, which is going to shock a lot of Canadian fans and upset a lot of Canadian fans. But all in all, I am truly delighted with this Canadian Canadians U20 roster going to the championship, even without Lucas Diaz. But guys, it is time to jump into this roster, break it down position through position, starting with goalkeepers, as we have Ben Alexander and Dino Bontis as our goalkeepers going for Canada's U20 side. Defenders, Noah Botnay, Kawasi Paku, Jamie Knight-Labelle, Justin Smith, who can of course play in the midfield as well, Mateo Campagna, Loic Cloche, Kobe Franklin, and Kisan Ferdinand. In the midfield, we have Rita Zuhir, Matthew Catavallo, Mael Henry, Cameron Habibullah, Gabriel Pellegrino, and as well as Jesse Costa. Up front for Canada, you'll see Jean Anyel Assi, Lowell Wright, Thiago Coimbra, and Hugo Mbonge. This is a very good roster from Canada, and I am really excited to see this. This is probably the perfect squad or the ideal roster for Canada, but you are missing two huge players in there, as well as Lucas Diaz, who all Canadian fans will be screaming out and crying out for, and we're probably all surprised to not see him on this roster, as well as one player who I was very excited to see for Canada probably come in the net first or even start, in my personal opinion, in Owen Goodman. And we had a tweet from Peter Galindo after the roster was announced, up the NFP, of course, my favorite saying, and my favorite podcast, Northern Football Podcast. And Peter Galindo tweeted this earlier: I can now confirm that the other two players who were heavily pursued by other federations were Jesse Costa and Owen Goodman. And Canada seems to now lose a lot of players to England. Of course, Owen Goodman to England, of course, he's not gone, he's not lost, he hasn't been cap-tied or anything. He can still be convinced to come switch. But that is a huge blow, because for me, Owen Goodman is probably our best goalkeeper at the U20 level. I think he's a fantastic player. It is great for me, personally, that we convinced Jesse Costa, because I think he is the key player in this U20 side. Of course, there's Justin Smith, who is absolutely fantastic. But Jesse Costa, for me, is a brilliant talent and could be one who's truly going to come through for Canada in the future. He reminds me of a Stefan Eustáquio who can truly boss the ball and control the game, and he is a truly brilliant player on the pitch. It is so interesting that those two were truly pursued heavily by other federations. I'm not really surprised, but I was really hoping that we convince Owen Goodman, as I think he's a standout goalie for the U20s, in my personal opinion. And it is great to just get as many dual nationals and European-based players as well, as I like to say. But also, you had Peter Galindo come out with the taxi squad being announced as Jefferson Alphonse, Arisa De Rosario, of course, Dwayne's son, Hugo Tavares, Eric White, and Adam Perlman on the taxi squad. Of course, this is just a very good team from Canada, in my personal opinion. So much mix of different varieties, different teams, different leagues, which is exactly what we need to see in Canada. Of course, it is a huge boost to have the CPL as well now, and it's great to see so many CPL players in there. But for me, if you're going to ask questions about are these CPL players as good as these European players, my personal opinion, no. But I believe a lot of these CPL players are extremely good, extremely talented. One player I look to is Lowell Wright and Cameron Habibullah. I think those two players deserve to move away from the CPL and get a big move to Europe somewhere, because they got some brilliant talent under their football talent. But some stats coming out from Alexander Gonge-Ruzic, that some stats on this are there's 2 Vancouver Whitecaps players, 4 CF Montreal, 2 TFC, 6 Canadian Premier League players, which is fantastic, as well as 5 European-based players and 1 South American. It is massive to see this kind of mix. It's so exciting because these guys are all going to mix. They're going to become a great group and blend and gel together. And the fact that we're getting so many more dual nationals, so many players who are playing abroad and playing for some bigger European sides. And when I say that, you look to the likes of a Jesse Costa, who is out playing for Wolfsburg and doing a brilliant job. You have the likes of Gabriel Pellegrino playing for SC Freiburg. Yes, not for the first team, but still playing very well. South American-wise, you look at Thiago Coimbra from SC Palmeiras. And that is a very good squad in Brazil as well, and has a highly rated team for bringing up academy players. And you even look out further to the other European-based players who I highly rate in this side. And these just aren't players that you're looking at for dual nationals. You're saying, let's bring them in, let's get them a taste of the squad, and let's just try and tie them eventually for Canada's senior team. For me, these are very good dual nationals who are coming from abroad. The likes, I'll name them once again here: Justin Smith, Jamie Knight-Labelle, Noah Abotne. I'm looking through the list here, guys. You also have Gabriel Pellegrino, the likes of Jesse Costa, and Thiago Coimbra. I might have missed one, but that is a brilliant names right there. And guys who I think eventually are going to break into the senior side. Noah Botny is a brilliant fullback who likes to bomb forward and get balls into the box. Playing for Lazio's academy side. Earn himself a loan move or even a permanent transfer, because I think he's a brilliant player and eventually could break into this Canadian side. Of course, years ago we did have problems at fullback, but we really don't anymore. Like of Atakubi, Davies. Now you have on the right side of Alistair Johnson, who's easily going to move to Europe next year, in my personal opinion. Richie Larea at Nottingham Forest, who might be playing, might not be, could earn a loan move. It's great at fullback now, and even with Noah Botny coming through now, it is going to be massive. As well as center back. Center back is a huge issue for Canada. As well as you have Justin Smith and Jamie Knight-Labelle. If Jamie Knight-Labelle can play consistent football for Bristol City, get first team action, play in a great league there for a good side in Bristol City, his stock's going to rise. And you also have Justin Smith. For me, he's just banging on that door at OGC Nice. Hopefully he can earn himself a loan move or break into that OGC Nice side. But he's going to be jumping in that senior side extremely soon and probably going to take over Stephen Vittoria's place. And that is going to be an exciting back line. I'm really hoping we can keep running with this 4-4-2 because I am very excited if we can keep that system. Because for me, it's the best lineup for Canada. But you also look down the lineup. It's not just these European and South American based players. I don't want to just focus on them. I personally am not able to watch a lot of Canadian Premier League. I don't have One Soccer and all that stuff. But I've watched some of the highlights. I've watched what these guys can do. The likes of Cameron Habibullah from Pacific FC, as I rate him highly. I think he needs to move away from the CPL just because of how good he truly is. You also have the likes of Lowell Wright, who I also talked about earlier. I think he's a brilliant footballer. One player I think is a massive name to have in the squad is Rida Zouhir from CF Montreal. Of course, there was the rumors of Morocco, how he was going to join Morocco over Canada. He preferred to go play for them. He wasn't going to join us for the U-20 setup, but he is with the squad, and it is probably the biggest name on here in general. Not the fact that he's better than Justin Smith or like Jesse Costa. It is just the fact that he is a very good, talented footballer who I think is eventually going to break into the senior side. Because for me, I believe there's certain players in that midfield for Canada's senior side that need to move on eventually. Of course, Atiba will soon. And I don't rate a couple of those players in the midfield. And I rate Zouhir highly. So I'm glad he has chosen us over Morocco. Yes, he's not cap-tied, but it's a huge impression that he has joined Canada's U-20 side for the CONCACAF Championships. Guys, this is a brilliant squad. I'm not going to go through the roster again. You heard the breakdown. It's a brilliant team. Of course, there's those 6 CanPL team players who got a huge chance here. You got those 5 European players. You got 1 South American and lots coming from the MLS as well. This is a brilliant, great mix of players for our Canadian U-20 side going to the CONCACAF Championships for the U-20s coming up here soon. And this is a brilliant squad. Let me know what you guys think down below about Canada's U-20 team and roster that has been announced. Let me know what your guys' opinions are on Lucas Diaz not being in this side, but also the likes of Rida Zouhir being in here, Justin Smith, Jesse Costa, Gabriel Pellegrino, Cameron Habibullah. What do you think of the roster, guys? Let me know what you guys think down below. Drop a like, drop a comment, and make sure that sub button, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace!